Hello and welcome to Maritime Matters. My name is Captain Morgan DeWicki. I have here with me today Captain Jeff MacDonough. Jeff is a former student of the College of Maritime Science in the Nautical Science program. So fun to have you here.
Fun
And
to
it's
be here.
fun to have you here as an instructor.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Jeff, a former student, went out to work for a few years and then actually decided to come back and give back to the program, I guess, and be an instructor.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um, tell us a little bit about how you got into the maritime industry, where that passion came from, and why you wanted to join the college program.
Okay, so back in middle school, actually, I had an opportunity to join the what we called the Young Mariners program, and pretty much throughout the school year, we would build small plywood skiffs,
Hmm.
and then at the end of the year, we'd raffle it off and buy more wood to build another boat.
Yep.
And throughout that, we would meet different companies that sponsored us, gave us some paint and stuff like that, and they actually had an opportunity for a sailing school scholarship through the Herreshoff Marine Museum, and we got from there. My parents actually lost their job
Okay.
that summer, so we were kind of scrambling, looking for somewhere for me to go for the summer. I
Yep.
was, sixth grade, needed somewhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
My parents didn't want to watch me all summer long, so I walked in the door and I told my mom, I said, Mom, look, I can get a scholarship. I can go sailing for free.
Yep.
And, sailing was always in my past. My whole family, except my father, actually, we're all mariners.
Okay.
My uncle, my grandfather, all mariners,
Yep.
sailed unlimited captains. So they were pretty experienced captains they thought of maybe I would do it, maybe not. There's always everybody was risking it. I mean, nobody knew which one was going to get the itch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so eventually, my parents, they agreed to let me apply for this scholarship, and I was the only one applied. So I got a full scholarship for a full summer of sailing.
Wow.
Never been on a boat before.
Yep.
Um, so I got an opportunity to sail on 100-year-old wooden Herreshoff 12 and a halfs
Very
and
cool.
in Bristol Harbor. And that scholarship actually lasted me for 3 summers. So for 3 summers, I did that doing the Young Mariners program and learned how to sail small wooden boats. Eventually moving up to bigger wooden boats. I
Yep.
actually got to sail on a 1929 Fisher's Island 31 named Kestrel. Uh, Great boat, fun boat, beautiful boat. Then high school came around, and I was kind of, looking for summer work, as most high schoolers are, looking for something to do in the summer. Didn't want to go back to camp, because which freshman in high school wants to go to camp?
Yep.
So they offered me an instructor's spot, counselor in training, and so for the summer I taught sailing. And for me, it was never, I was making money as a freshman in high school. It was great. A couple years later, kept doing that after summer, just kept teaching sailing and never really thought of making the maritime world, making that, the boating world into a career. I never
Yep.
knew how. Um, I met a captain that came into Herreshoff one time. His name was Captain Eddie. Don't remember his last name, but he drove a beautiful yacht, probably 120-foot navy blue yacht made out of aluminum, and he named Capricorn. And he talked to him for hours and hours and hours every day. And he eventually recommended this school um, to get my captain's license. And I brought it up to my parents, and they weren't about it. They
Yep.
were like, "This isn't going to work. You're not going to be able. You're not going to make boats. You're not going to make any money. How are you going to make money sailing? How are you going to do that? You can't teach sailing the rest of your life." So I found, I was in robotics in high school, and my dad was in computer science. So I decided I'm gonna try to go into computers. I guess
Yep.
cybersecurity is the big thing. So I did that for about 2 years in college. I hated it. I
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't stand it whatsoever. I did not like being in an office. It was just sitting behind a computer all day was just not what I wanted. Um, and I was probably this close to. I was very close, very very close to getting kicked out of the school for really bad grades. And I went to them. I said, "Hey, look, don't kick me out yet, but if I leave, can I still come back later if this doesn't work out?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Sure." So I got to leave the school. I withdrew from all my classes, and still am in good standing, so I can go back there if I want. But so then I'm out of the school, and I got to figure something out.
Yeah.
And the whole boating world came back to me. I didn't know much about the Merchant Marine, besides the fact that my uncle and my grandfather were captains. What that was, I had no idea. And it clicked in my head that the gentleman I talked to, Captain Eddie, years and years ago, recommended a maritime school in Southeast Massachusetts, and I didn't know the name of it. And for probably a month, I just kept researching maritime schools in the area over and over and over again. Finally, I found Northeast Maritime Institute. I said, "That's the one. That's the one." He said, and he said it was a yellow building, 32 Washington Street.
Here we are. Yep.
Big yellow building. So he said you couldn't miss it. So I called up the school and I said, "Hey, I'd like to get my captain's license." And a woman named, I think her name was Carrie, she said, "Oh, okay. You want to get your captain's license? Sure. Come on by. Yeah, come on by, and we'll give you a tour of the place. We'll see what you want." And so we came by. My mom and I came through and met Eric Dwicki and Captain Dave Medeiros. Captain Dave was, he actually had a visor on, and he had fake hair sticking out of it.
Oh, funny.
Eric was wearing a short sleeve shirt, shorts, and flip flops. And he says, "Hi, I'm the president. My name's Eric Dwicki." I said, "Oh, okay. Nice to meet you."
Yeah.
So we got to talking about what the school, the history of the school, how it started in New Bedford, and how he got involved in it, and just the whole story of everything and how it's evolved. And then that was all we always talked about, the continuing ed side, or what we call the continuing ed side, and thinking about, what route was best for me, and talking about my history and what experience I had. It was clear that I wasn't going to be able to get a decent license. The boats I was sailing were small, less than 5 tons, inland waters. It was clear I wasn't going to get a decent license whatsoever. So they said, "Hey, we'll save you a lot of time. We just started this college program. What do you think?" And I said, "All right. Well, what is it?" And they started talking about it, and it's 2 years. It's only 2 years long. You graduate, you get a 100-ton near coastal, 200-ton mate, and an NAB at the same time. So I was like, "Okay, cool. That sounds fantastic." In 2 years, they said, and plus, it's $44,000 total at the time. And if you wanted to get all of those and all of that license, plus all the SCCW endorsements and everything to go with it, it's going to cost you about $70,000 if you do it each individually.
Yeah, continuing ed. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, that sounds like a really good deal. In 2 years, I was a junior. I was going to be a junior in college, so 2 more years, not bad. Okay, I was going to do 2 more years at the other school, so 2 more years here, and I get what I want. Right. Plus the associates part satisfied it. It made my parents happy. My dad always used to tell me, as long as you get a degree, I don't care if it's an underwater basket weaving, as long as you get that degree. So I helped him out. I got the degree, the associate's degree. But so going back to when I started, they also said the internships, working out at sea on commercial vessels is, you learn more out at sea in those 2 semesters at sea than you will in any classroom for any amount of time. It's that hands-on experience is so valuable. So, that's how I ended up in the college program. From there, I went through the college program, did the 2 years. My first internship, we'll start there, was with a company, Polar Tankers,
Yep.
on the West Coast, owned by ConocoPhillips. So they ran from California and Washington State up to Valdez, Alaska, doing the Alaskan pipeline route.
Yep.
So I just spent 98 days out there on the Polar Enterprise. Really cool name. So worked on that boat for a while. I learned essentially the basics of being a deckhand.
Yep.
It was the first internship, so working on the RFPNW sign-offs and going from that, and you learn about painting, you learn about line handling, line safety, all of that, all those hands-on skills that you're taught them in a classroom, but they don't make any sense in a classroom.
Yep.
You don't have that line in your hand. You don't see the strain on that line. You don't see a nice, soft, cushy line that makes you want to sleep on it.
Yep.
Turn into a rock.
Yep.
In an instant, right?
Yep.
So just like the safety and the awareness, that whole thing just clicks during that internship, and makes you appreciate what those guys do every day.
Yep.
For sure. So second internship I did at a local ferry company, Prudence Island Ferry Company, over in Rhode Island, running from Bristol to Prudence Island. Their summer boat is a 112-foot passenger car ferry, holds about 22 cars, 150 passengers. The winter boat is a 65-foot single screw with holds about 9 cars.
Okay.
Nice V hull versus the other one is an old North Carolina flat bottom boat. Flat bottoms don't really work so well in some seas, and
Yep.
if people listening know that Narragansett Bay in the winter is not something to mess around with. It can get pretty nasty in there for such a small inland bay, but the north wind's they run pretty well down there. So the V hull works really well. But so the internship with them, I was working as a third deckhand, and we had to I did the OICNW sign offs with them, and I got to learn. The captain I pretty much shadowed. He still works there. His name's Dominic. He pretty much showed me how to be a captain without being a boss.
Right.
Because there it's a very small crew. There's a captain and the deckhand. The deckhand doesn't have to have an AB. He doesn't have to be an OS. It's a T-boat. So just the licensed master. But he just taught me so much about he was a really chill captain. Just to sum it up, he was really chill. Like he was a really cool guy.
Chill but responsible.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he taught me a lot of just how to tone it down a little bit. I've met a lot of captains captains that have taught me things, captains in passing, and there's many different types of captains out there. There are the captains like Dom, very laid back, productive, safety oriented, responsible captains, and then there's a few others out there that are, I'm the captain, this is the way I see it. There's a T-shirt out there.
Yep.
And it says, what does it say? It says, the captain is always right, and I'm the captain. And turns out that's not necessarily true at all, and that's not how you should. If you want to be a good captain, that is not a good mentality to follow. Right. You'll get hurt. You'll hurt people if you think like that. And I learned that throughout that summer. You're the leader of a team, and you need to get it done. So that was the second internship, and right after that internship, I graduated, and I worked for that company for about 2 months, and then I got my license in the mail. And as soon as I got my license in the mail, I had an offer to actually come work for the school, and I was actually offered to work at the marina that you guys were purchasing at the time, and I was about to take it, and then I got an offer to be the second captain on the ferry.
Okay. Cool.
So I turned down the offer for the marina, and I worked as the captain for. I was there for after I was captain there for about a year. So I did the full winter and a full summer as captain. Um, had a blast. Every day is a new day. Every
hmm
day is the weather is constantly changing.
Yep.
Ship handling, it's so ship handling a lot of ship handling, small boat handling in comparison to most boats out there. The 112 is a big boat. And then the 65 foot, that was a fun boat to single screw. So you had to work a lot. You had to work hard for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So let's jump back real quick.
yeah, sure. Go for it.
So I love your dad. Your dad's like the coolest,
My dad,
funniest
yes,
guy.
you bet my dad, yes.
So flashback to his statement on, there's no money in this, or perhaps he saw it a
Yeah,
different way, right?
right.
He's looking at it from a different angle. To go from there and jump into this little journey of yours to getting into the school and becoming part of this new sort of fun college program that's
Right,
unique. There's nothing like it in the country. It's the only one. It's the only 2-year maritime
right.
college. Um, when did it hit you that this was going to be a career? And I think it's really unique because this school is only 2 years.
hmm
It's hyper affordable.
Oh, yeah.
So the amount of tuition you pay is less than the median salary for a master or an officer in the
Absolutely.
maritime industry.
Mhm.
So your first year of work, you're already making more than you've spent on the education itself.
Absolutely.
Where was that moment where it hit you and you said, "Wow, this is cool. This is going to be something I can take off with"?
It probably hit me that this was gonna work probably before I even started the college program, honestly. The orientation process alone, when I got here and my dad was with me,
Yep.
because parents the parents come to orientation, and listening to students that because mind you, I was cohort 3. So
Yep.
when cohort 3 started, cohort 1, the first group, hasn't even graduated yet.
Yep.
And the whole thing is so new, and just listening to what cohort 1 has learned on internships and listening to what cohort 2 has learned in their first couple semesters and hearing what the school has to offer, like the companies that the school works with on the continuing ed side. Um, I'm like, this school is going to work.
Yep.
They're going to try their hardest to put me in a, I'm going to graduate. Not only am I going to graduate, but the school's going to work to get me a job after graduation.
Right.
So that listening in orientation, listening to student testimonials just made it clicked.
Yep.
My dad's face lit up when he hear these, just to see my dad smile like that. I mean, it made me feel like I was in the right spot, and
Yep.
just he had talked to his brother and his father, my uncle and my grandfather, and they're like, Northeast Maritime Institute, it rings a bell. I kind of heard about that. Now, my dad's side is Texans.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
from Texas.
Right.
So Houston's got a big maritime school down there. Texas A&M.
Yep.
Texas A&M's got a big maritime side. But so they heard about Northeast Maritime Institute, but they're like, college program? What college program? What's this? Now, my uncle got kicked out of the Merchant Marine Academy and
Okay.
finished up at Texas A&M. My grandfather is a Merchant Marine Academy grad.
Yep.
Um, don't ask me what year, but he's actually celebrating his 90th birthday
Oh, wow.
next month. Um, so he's been out of it for a while. But they, talking to them about the program and all the different classes that you take in the college program, they were all saying that that is the best start you could get.
Yep.
That is everything you're going to need to start in the industry. So
Mhm.
that kind of all of them talking and gossiping about the whole thing and doing the research that was made me feel better about the decision I made, and then listening to all the students here just made it work. Everything just kind of made sense.
So not only do you have it kind of in your blood, but which doesn't. Now I'm not surprised that you're such a good boat handler. You're from Bristol.
I'm from Bristol.
Bristol is like the heart of boat building
Yeah.
and traditional boat building.
Yep.
Where the Herreshoffs are from.
Yeah.
So not only do you have this cool sort of blood background, you are right in the heart of just heritage and
Absolutely.
premier sailing. So I'm really intrigued. That's the first time I've heard you were really associated with the Herreshoff Museum and some of that history. So,
Oh yeah.
For those who haven't heard of Bristol or haven't heard of Herreshoff, they need to get down to Bristol because
Absolutely.
it is A, beautiful,
Mhm.
and B, there's just so much happening with sailing. So
Yeah, definitely. Herreshoff was. I still today I say it's the premier sailing yacht boat builder to date.
yeah,
Some of their boats are just gorgeous. The lines are gorgeous. Their boats are still around today because of how beautiful, how well built they are.
yeah.
They're still. They're
So
still around today.
I learned to sail on a sunfish, and I think it was out in Connecticut. I want to say. So I'm really jealous that you started on what is perhaps considered by many the premier hull design, which is a Herreshoff 12.5.
Yep, the best space sailor ever made.
Yeah, I think they sell for about $2,000 a foot nowadays.
Yeah,
Something
I'd
like
say.
that.
Yeah, I think the
So,
last one I saw in decent condition was listed, I think, for 85,000 for a 12.5 foot on the water. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a little jealous because I kind of recall being in my little rinky-dink life jacket
Yep.
and capsizing with my dad and thinking it was the coolest thing ever. But
Yeah.
I guess my start was a little more perhaps tumultuous on board a small sunfish.
Yeah.
But that must have been a blast on the 12.5. So
yeah, and in being in I started in sixth grade, and when you're in sixth grade, you don't know, you don't have a concept of how old 100 years is.
yeah,
Right. You just don't. That doesn't. You don't know that.
yeah,
And so now that I'm I've aged a bit. Definitely, it's like it hits you, and it's like, wow, I got to sail on those, and also the concept of value.
yeah,
The value of those boats is just insane, and they're teaching 6-year-olds on those boats. They're teaching, when I was teaching, I taught 6-year-olds how to sail, and they were sailing. I had 4 6-year-olds, maybe an 8-year-old in there too, but they're tacking and jibing a Herreshoff 12.5 by themselves with no instructor.
wow,
And
pretty cool.
It's Bristol.
Yeah,
you have fun. you got to go out on a boat to learn how to be on a boat.
yeah.
It's the only way you're gonna learn.
So you go through the college program. You go and get some real world experience.
Yep.
You're now an instructor. What is it like on the other side? And I think I've been hyper impressed by how much you've brought in your time here as an instructor to improve the program, to bring some of that real world knowledge. I think it's so cool that you went through the program because now you have all these insights and understanding, and the kids are gonna the kids just react with you better because they know you went through the program, right? So they've kind of got this understanding that you understand what it is.
So being an instructor is definitely it's a lot of responsibility. So we're teaching new mariners, and we're teaching the best mariners.
Right.
We say we teach the best mariners because I think we are. But being an instructor, especially being a former student, you see a lot more.
Right.
I see things in students because I was in that same spot. I know the topics that are difficult. I know the topics that we need to spend more time on.
Yeah.
And I know what to do to get those students to learn and to get them engaged. We talk about hands-on activity, hands-on learning. That's how I actually felt that I learned the best. I learned a lot on the internships. I learned a lot in the labs of the classes. So trying to incorporate that more into my classes and trying to get these students to get the hands-on knowledge before they get to the internship, that
Right.
internship is even more valuable to them because they spend less time learning and more time refining those skills.
Right.
So that to me, that's a big part of what I can see is and what I kind of feel I bring to the table. And definitely bringing that, what the students are thinking of, how they feel day to day. It's a long 2-year program.
Right.
I think what are we up to? 80 credits, 80
Something
credits,
like that
something like that.
for
And
what would normally be a 60 credit.
right,
So
so it's a lot to learn in a short amount of time, and if we can get a lot more hands on and which every day we're incorporating more and more hands on learning parts of it. Um,
it's a lot of work, but it's sort of this big reward at the end to where
Absolutely,
you've really jump started,
yeah.
right? Most people take years or they'll go through the 4-year program, right? And here they are, 2 years, and they even get to go on these, we'll call them pretty badass in some scenarios, summer co-op programs where
Oh
they're getting paid
yes.
to
Oh yeah.
learn and work
Uh-huh.
and get dirty and understand the industry. And
Right.
because there's two internships, let's say a kid comes in on it and wants to work on tugboats, and he goes on his first summer internship, his first summer co-op on a tugboat, and he's
Hmm.
like, "Dang, I hate this. This
Wouldn't surprise
stinks."
me. Wouldn't surprise
Right?
me. Yep.
So most, I'm not saying that tugs are bad, but this is just an
Right. Same.
example.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
think tugs are a blast.
Yeah.
But let's say a kid comes in, they got these notions
Hmm.
about what they want to do. This program really gives them the opportunity to get that figured out.
Yeah.
And they might not like it.
Hmm.
They might say it's the coolest thing in the world, or they might come back and say, I don't want to do that. And that second year, they get to go try something new.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so you kind of saw a bit of that. And
Yeah.
I think Polar is kind of one of the cooler internships to have, but
That
it,
was
it must
pretty
have been
pretty
fun
fun.
doing the ferries as well.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can really hone some of your handling skills. And
Absolutely.
yeah, your boat handling skills are definitely top notch. So
Thank you.
I think that experience paid off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So um, yeah, um,
Yeah. And being just the, I mean, the whole program itself was just, um, I think if our former or our current director, sorry, our new director
hmm
of the college program, Aaron Paolino, he was my age when he had the same license that I do.
hmm
And talking to him and what he had to go through to get that license,
right,
the amount of sea time he had to put in, for a 100-ton master, you need 360 days of sea time. And I think, don't quote me on the tonnage, but over a certain tonnage.
it's like over
I think
34 or
something
something like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
And just,
that's a lot
that's a lot of time
on a big boat.
on a big boat,
Right,
a decent sized boat. You're not going to go get that on your uncle's boat. It's
right.
not going to happen. So to have that, to graduate that in 2 years, yeah, it's going to take you almost 2 years to get all that sea time, and then now you have to learn all of the required knowledge.
Yeah,
So doing everything all at once in that condensed 2-year program was, I mean, you can't get anything better than that.
yeah, yeah. So you kind of come in as an instructor, and shortly thereafter, we're kind of hit with this COVID crisis.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
one of the things that as mariners we're responsible for is being able to adapt, be quick on our feet, and come up with solutions. Right?
yeah,
You're
absolutely.
on the water. You don't get to pause and
Yeah,
should I do this? Should I do that? No, you got to get into action. You've got
yeah.
to something's going wrong. You have to fix it quick, and you,
Mhm.
you got to be on your toes and ready.
Boats don't have brakes.
Exactly. And you got to take care of the boat
Yeah.
first,
Hmm.
then comes the crew, right?
Yeah,
And without taking care of the boat, you can't take care of the crew. So,
absolutely.
tell us what that experience has been like with COVID and sort of the tools that we've implemented here. You gotten to play with these cool simulators and online training that we built.
Yep.
What's that like? Um,
So, well, so right after, so students went away for spring break, and the whole coronavirus started coming in, and we knew it was going to get here eventually. And we were trying to think of what we could do, so it didn't affect any of our students.
Right.
Because students were our number one during this entire rest of the semester. So everybody, went out for spring break. All of the instructors were still here. We didn't take vacation that week. So we were all still here, and we all sat down Monday of spring break and brainstormed. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this?
Right.
And shortly thereafter, I believe, so we're in Massachusetts, so the Governor Baker said that schools were, he was pretty much shutting down the colleges.
Right.
Most schools in the area were on spring break, so pretty much nobody was coming back. And so, plan A, out the window. Plan B, didn't even hit the table. It was just not even a thought. So, probably plan D is what we actually went with. And so all the students, we had them all stay home, everybody with their families, and we went online. Now, like I said earlier, we try to teach a lot of hands-on, a lot of it's hands-on learning. So we created videos of simulations to show different things. Our naval architecture class, they normally build a 13 to 15 foot skiff of some sort, whether it be a dory or a flat bottom lumberyard skiff or something like that. And the instructor of that class said, well, they're not all going to build a boat that size. So he went online, and I think he went on Amazon and found balsa wood kits, and he sent everybody bare pieces of balsa wood and said, here are your boat plans.
Build a model.
Build me a model boat.
Yeah.
And varying degrees of success. But,
the principles
were there, laying out all the frames, laying the planking, all of that was still there. And I think it was actually really neat because everybody got to do every part of the boat.
Right.
Whereas, some, two people might get to seal the seams and that's it.
Right.
Everybody got to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was, I think that was great. That was really neat. I don't know. Am I allowed to mention?
So not only did you guys come up with cool solutions, right? To impart some of the practical aspect of the theory, you guys also worked your butts off and managed to get these kids summer co-ops and internships. And so now, and it was tricky, right?
Absolutely.
And God bless these companies for working with us, and we're so thankful for them.
Very.
These kids can get their sea time, but now they get to take all that theoretical knowledge you were teaching them over the remainder of that semester, and they're putting it to work. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we throughout that whole our internship process starts probably about in the end of January. We start thinking about internships. Students fill out internship surveys, thinking about what they think is interesting to them in the industry. A couple seminars we put on about the industry and what different aspects of that are, and they kind of get to pick certain routes and see where they want to go. Do they want to leave home? Do they want to stay at home? Do they want to go on a polar tankers? Do they want to go on a big tanker? Do they want to go on a small tugboat inland? What's interesting to them? So a lot of tugboat. A lot of people, a lot of students like the tugs. So we're trying to work with new tug companies every day. We're talking to new tug companies because, for some reason, a lot of our students which makes sense. Their license is applicable. So it's the perfect world, I guess, in their minds. But, we're trying to work with all these different companies, and, still coronavirus is in full swing. Companies are, in February, we're saying, absolutely, we'll take 6 students. 6 students is fantastic. That's 20% of our student body right there. I think, did I do the math right there? something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Oof. So anyway, yeah. So we have these companies that are saying we're going to take 6 students, 5 students, all these different companies. All of a sudden, all of those companies promising a lot of students dropped out.
Couldn't do it anymore.
They said no, we're not even doing crew changes. Our crew is sitting on the boat for who knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want this to spread through our company. So companies were dropping out. They're not taking new hires. They're not doing this. Cruise ships. I don't even think a cruise ship set sail from American soil in months.
Yeah, they're all tied up. Yeah.
So that was a big hit for us. So just trying to find ferries started late. Ferries around here are just starting.
Yep.
Now the end, first day of July 1st. So we're still having. I think our last student started yesterday. That was promised an internship. He started yesterday. So whereas most of these start second week of May,
right.
third week of May, they're out on their boats for 3 months. So it hit us hard. It hit us hard. It is hard work getting everybody out there. We did it. So we extended the fall semester a little bit to give everybody a little bit more time out on the boats to get that knowledge. So a lot of work though.
Yeah. So this will wrap it up. I think I appreciate you coming on, taking some time.
Absolutely.
The onward and upward through
Yes.
Corona. We'll get through it.
Absolutely.
And coming up with solutions every day. And but that was cool to hear about sort of your journey. I had never heard that story, so for me it was fun.
Yeah.
Some good laughs and cool. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
All right.